The Philippines debunks China's claim that it seized control of the Sandy Cay reef. Beijing state media earlier reported that the China Coast Guard implemented maritime control over the Sandy Cay, but National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya disputes this claim, calling China's report a made-up story that had been irresponsible to disseminate.
There is no truth whatsoever to the claim of the Chinese Coast Guard that the Pag-asa case has been seized. It is not to the benefit of any nation if these things are happening, nor is it to the benefit of any nation if such irresponsible announcements and statements are released to the public and to the world.
Malaya also reminds China of its commitment to the 2002 Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea.
It was agreed by those nations that signed the Declaration of Conduct that there will be no occupation moving forward of unoccupied teachers. We urge the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Coast Guard to maintain the status quo in the West Philippine Sea, consistent again with the 2002 Declaration of Conduct, which they themselves adhere to, which they themselves continue to refer to in each and every statement issued by the Chinese Foreign Ministry.
Meanwhile, Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, says 7 Chinese maritime militia vessels were spotted between Pag-asa K2 and K3. According to Tariela, the 7 Chinese vessels are hampered between the cays. He adds that Philippine authorities also observed the presence of China Coast Guard 5102, approximately 1,000 yards east of K2. The Sandy Cay Reef lies near Pag-asa Island, where the Philippines stations troops and maintains a Coast Guard monitoring base. The Philippine Navy says Chinese aircraft carrier Shandong conducted flight operations within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. According to the Navy, Shandong was spotted off Burgos, Ilocos Norte on April 26. Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, says they also monitored an unidentified fighter jet approaching the aircraft carrier's flight deck.
It was monitored again, this time traversing from a east to west direction until the middle of 26 April. Next slide, please. The Shandong was in the company of another warship and they were conducting flight deck operations. Next slide. These were approximately conducted 123 nautical miles from Burgos, Ilocos Norte.
However, Trinidad notes that the presence of the Shandong did not interfere with this year's ongoing Balikatan exercise between the Philippines and the United States. He explains that flight deck operations are permitted under international law. However, Trinidad says the presence of the aircraft carrier and other Chinese vessels raises concern in the Navy.
They are not considered interfering with the BK exercises. The conduct of flight deck operations in as much as they were already in international waters, although within our EEZ, but out of our territorial seas, they are permitted under UNCLOS. We are concerned, that's why we monitor them closely.
Trinidad said on April 24 that 9 ships, including the Shandong, were first monitored about 300 nautical miles off Burgos. He said 6 warships, destroyers, frigates, and 2 support vessels were accompanying the aircraft carrier. The Philippines and the U.S. kicked off the annual Balikatan joint military exercises, with this year's drills mostly being held in northern Luzon. Select Kadiwa centers will start selling the 20 peso per kilo rice on May 2, according to the Department of Agriculture. In a statement, the Department of Agriculture says high-quality 20 peso per kilo rice at Kadiwa centers will be available only to indigents, senior citizens, solo parents, and persons with disabilities. It adds that beneficiaries can purchase up to 30 kilograms of rice a month. The agency says participating local government units who share in the subsidy for the project may make the new rice option available to all regardless of vulnerability status. LGUs include San Juan City in Metro Manila, San Jose del Monte in Bulacan, and Amati City in Davao Oriental. This rollout comes about a week after the project was piloted in the Visayas region. According to the DA, it already secured the clearance from the Commission on Elections to proceed with the sale of the subsidized rice. The DA says the initiative is expected to free up warehouse space of the National Food Authority. It says this will enable increased rice procurement from local farmers during the summer harvest. Malacanang says the government will implement strict guidelines and monitoring in the entry of digital nomads into the country to ensure that it does not result in the same issues that arose from Philippine offshore gaming operator operations. President Bongbong Marcos earlier issued Executive Order 86 allowing the grant of Philippine visas for digital nomads or foreign nationals seeking to temporarily reside and work remotely in the Philippines. In a briefing on Monday, April 28, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says the move will boost the country's economy and tourism.
If we will have more tourists, we will definitely have more income. And it will definitely also benefit the country and also the Filipino people. At ngayon ay isinasagawa po ang guidelines para po maisapatupad po itong digital nomad visa.
Castro also assures the public that safeguards will be in place to address concerns that could arise from the initiative, including the possible influx of foreign nationals involved in criminal activities.
We will be having monitoring, unlike with the Pogos before. We will be securing definitely the processes regarding this. There will always be security features in order to protect our country from any scammers or any violations of the law.
Marcos ordered a total ban on Pogos last year due to their links to crimes such as human trafficking, prostitution, and murder. Castro also says that the government is currently drafting guidelines for the visa program, which will provide more details about the process. Under the executive order, the Department of Foreign Affairs is authorized to issue digital nomad visas to non-immigrant foreigners who desire to enter or stay in the country for a temporary period with the purpose of working remotely. The order states that the foreigners' clients or employers should be situated outside the Philippines.